Hey everybody, God bless you. And I just want to say thank you for those that are jumping on while we are live. And also, I have Chloe with me. She's kind of spending some time with me today. Um, my little cat, she's getting comfortable. But I am coming to you today because I wanted to be able to share my journey with, well, not only those that know me, but other people that are on the same, dealing with the same challenge. And as you can see, the topic of, let me just make sure. I just decided to do this today. So, in short, I have had some health challenges, and in the process, of caring for them or pursuing an answer or solution, I was diagnosed. I got a bad diagnosis, and I was diagnosed with lupus. And for those of you that don't know, lupus is also a autoimmune disease. And it is one that affects so many people that I thought it would be good to talk about because a lot of people aren't aware of it. And some people may think that it is something that is beyond control or they may get overwhelmed. But there are some things about lupus. I hope that you'll share this, or if you know someone that is having this particular challenge, I just want to give you some basic information on it. So, the first thing I wanted to talk to you about was lupus and what it is. So, let's just look at the definition. So again, it's an autoimmune disease and it affects just about any and every organ of your body. It can. It happens, as it says, lupus is a chronic autoimmune disease that can predominantly affect women, especially those that are in childbearing years. So we're beyond that. So I was really surprised that but I guess you shouldn't be surprised. But I was surprised that it was my diagnosis because of the age group that it generally affects during childbearing years. However, um, lupus is a disease again where it's an autoimmune disease. So the way that that works, and we know that some of these autoimmune diseases mean that the autoimmune system is not strong enough to fight off illnesses, and so because it's compromised, that there is a battle with, and it often turns out to be fatal. But with lupus, it's a bit different because with lupus, your body's autoimmune system is in overdrive. So instead of not working, it actually works when it should um, not be so aggressive. So, what happens is that the body may get an infection, or the body may come down with a cold, or there may be inflammation in the body, which is usually an autoimmune problem, is the inflammation in the body. But the way that the immune system works with lupus is that it goes in overdrive. So instead of just getting rid of the excess inflammation in the body, it starts then to attack the organs. And that's where the problem comes in. So now, just to share with you how this information came about to me is one morning I woke up. Actually, it was probably early in the morning, in the mid morning, probably somewhere around 3 o'clock. Extreme pain from head to toe. It seemed that every joint was just so extremely inflamed that it hurt to move. There was weakness, couldn't pull back the covers to get out of bed. Lifting my head off the pillow was a challenge. Sitting up was just something I couldn't do by myself. My husband actually had to help me and to, get me to ambulate or to move around the house. He would have to actually bear most of my weight and help me and assist me in every way. So it was a very sobering moment, and it was something more than just inflammation that I usually have been handling with anti inflammatories like alfalfa. That has been very effective for me. But I took the alfalfa and I said, well, maybe it wasn't working. And I thought, well, maybe I need to increase the amount that I'm taking, get it built up in my bloodstream, get rid of the inflammation, and then maintain that level of control so I could manage it that way. Well, that didn't work. So the next step was to go into the doctor. I did not want to get anything that was going to cause me to, that was going to suppress my immune system like she had used before. This was many years ago, back in the early 2000s, around 2005 or 6. And it was so severe, the arthritis, she had to give me a steroid shot. But that completely got rid of the inflammation, and I was good with the inflammation until it started building back up. Well, I learned how to change my diet, and I learned how to do things that avoided the buildup or creation of excess of inflammation in the body. So this time when it came back after what 15 years or so, I was really taken back. So I said, well, I'll go to the doctor and see if she can help me bring it under control, and then we'll just move forward. Well, the first thing she wants to do is blood tests. So that's my rheumatologist. And she does blood tests, and as she gets the markers and all the indications of the blood work, it came back positive, which I thought it was going to be negative, but the positive diagnosis of arthritis and mild lupus was what I was told. So this was a bit daunting because I'd heard of people suffering with lupus and even it becoming fatal for some people. So a lot of things went through my mind. My first question to her was, is there a cure and what are the treatments for it? Now, when you go to your doctor, I do want to give you a suggestion that you have the options and the choices are yours. You have a sound mind and you're able to make decisions on your own. And certainly you have that autonomy and that authority to make that decision yourself. So you always ask what the treatments are. And her first response to me was that you have um, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and mild lupus. And I suggest it was followed by the words, I strongly suggest that you begin treatment. All right. So again, a lot of people not being forced, but would probably take that thinking that is their option. So the next thing to do is to ask what are the treatments and what's available. See, my cat is being skittish today because my son and daughter-in-law are here. But the first thing that I did is ask what are the options or what is the treatment. She named it, and she said that it was a treatment that is commonly used. I said, is it a steroid? She said, no. So I did not want a steroid because I know steroids suppress the immune system. And I also understand that steroids can, make you hypersensitive and responsive. It can make your body think that you're hungry when you just finished eating. So a lot of people really gain a lot of weight when they're on steroids. And so I did not want to go with steroids. Every time I touch her, she tries to wipe it off. Be a good girl. Yeah, you may leave. And so I tried not to go with any steroids. So she spoke of another one, and she said it was non-steroid. But then I asked if it suppressed the immune system. She said yes. So my response to that was that I did not want to suppress the immune system if there was already a problem going on with the immune system, and then we put medication on top of it. This was my thinking. All right, again, you have the decisions. So the immune system would be further compromised. So if the immune system is already fighting in an overdrive and overactive and aggressive, and then you put a medication on top of it that will suppress it, well, then to me, that's like, a treatment that's going to cause problems. So I began to ask questions about the side effects, other than the fact that it was going to be uh, non-steroidal but suppress it. So let me just say this before I go further into the that information, and I'm going to end this pretty shortly. I just wanted to be a vlog where we get some information out to you because I know a lot of people have friends, family, loved ones, people that they know of that suffer with this disease, and all they tell me is that, oh, I know who had that, and I know somebody that died from it, and I know somebody that has it. I have a neighbor that has it. I have a friend that has it, and they're really going through. They're really struggling with this disease. Well, they never talk about what they're doing to help the person. So let's just look at this. The first thing that I will have you to know, number one, I am not afraid of death. I've always said this one thing, I don't know what will take me but out of this world. But as far as leaving this world, that is not a problem to me because I know that there is a better there is something waiting for me and it's a reward. But beyond that, I want to talk to people that are dealing with lupus. So this is what the research says that in most cases, lupus is not fatal. In fact, it's 80 to 90% of the people who have the autoimmune immune disease will likely live a normal lifespan. So it does not have to be. But then there's, of course, the unfortunate 20 to 10% that it may turn out to be fatal. Now, as I said a moment ago, I was able to get the diagnosis at the point where it's in a mild stage. Now, because it's an autoimmune disease, it is something that is affected or impacted by the inflammation in your body. One of the things she told me when I went in was that my entire body was inflamed. So the inflammation was throughout my body. So that explained the pain from head to toe and the extreme amount of pain, the weakness. Um, was also explained with that. So my first thought was to get rid of the inflammation. How can I get rid of the inflammation? Now, before we do that, because we want to talk about approaches that you can use um, in dealing with this. Uh, okay, so lupus um, is treated again by getting rid of the inflammation. They will give you or can give you medications that will get rid of it. If you choose to do so and take the medication, then that is totally your choice and your option. It's your decision. No one can force you to do it, but they may strongly advise it. So they can give you the medication, and it can get rid of the inflammation, that excessive inflammation in the body. What you do need to know is that there are some side effects. That ought to be the next thing that you asked, if there are side effects. Now, I kind of got things a little bit out of order because I wanted to give you indications on steroids. I'm sorry, give you indications on the signs and the symptoms of lupus. So some of them are it can be a pulmonary problem, which is your breathing. So you may have, if it affects the lungs, then you can have problems breathing. If it affects, again, it can affect any one of your organs. If it affects the lungs, it can affect your breathing, your respiratory. It can allow you to have things like sleep apnea, even asthma, and other struggles that a person, bronchitis, will have that pertain to the lungs and the respiratory system. If it affects the kidneys, it could go all the way into kidney failure or just cause inflammation in the kidneys, which would be a very painful situation, and it may end up in treatment such as um, having to go into dialysis or medication or infusions. So those are some of the side effects. If it attacks the brain, it could go as far, and these are the extremes that I'm giving you. It could cause seizures. If it goes to the heart, it can cause the breakdown of the muscles in the heart, and it can ultimately lead to failure. So you can see that it can be very, very fatal, devastating. It can be a real struggle, which is what a lot of people I'm hearing say is a problem, that they're having all these different struggles. So I, again, went back to the basics. The problem is that there is a lot of inflammation in the body. How do you deal with all the inflammation in the body? So, again, anti-inflammatories. There are a lot of ways to do it. If you choose to go with the medicine, then certainly that's your option. Now, my choice was to keep everything as natural as possible because almost all medications have side effects, and some even interact with other medications. So it was just not the first thing I wanted to jump into. So I decided that I wanted to do something that was natural and that was going to require a change in lifestyle and handle it that way. All right, so I go from being completely dependent upon my husband on one night completely, and then found out that some of the inflammation could be handled by ibuprofen, which is not good to take several times a day. This is going to be a problem. Again, there's side effects. It could be problems with the stomach. It can cause all kinds of gastrointestinal problems, bowel problems. So I wanted to do something as natural as possible. So I started looking up some of the different foods that were causing inflammation. So if you want to get rid of it, you can start with doing things that are going to get rid of it. But if you are still doing things that are causing it to come back, then it's like trying to fill up a bucket with a hole in it. So one of the things that you should consider doing is making sure that you eliminate those things that are creating or causing the inflammation. And this is for all autoimmune diseases. Get away from that so that you can, in some, if not maintain the level you're at, hopefully decrease the level of inflammation in the body. And so then I had to look into a whole different lifestyle, which meant I was going to have to change the way that I eat. I was going to have to change the things that I allow myself to get involved with because a lot of things cause the increase of inflammation. And I found out that stress was one of them. Well, who doesn't live with stress? I know that we, have this faith and that we believe and, we don't worry and we put our confidence in. No need to quote scriptures to me, but you know what it's like to have stress if you're going to be honest, and I'm certainly going to be honest. Well, there were so many things going on that, you handle this and then you take care of other things and you involve yourself a little more intensely in the things that are more critical and serious. But all of these things are introducing or impacting you in a level of stress. So I found out that I needed to reduce stress. So some things concerning my job, I had to eliminate, and I had to make sure that, number one, um, I'm concerned about my well-being. So stressors, things that stress you, you need to, eliminate it. If it's just discord, if it's anxiety about family, friends, bills, things that could potentially happen. You have to really sit down and be thoughtful, be mindful, and go through your mind about all the things that you allow to just settle and resonate in your head over and over again, creating stress. That was one thing. Okay, so that was a big challenge all by itself. So I'm still working on that because life still goes on. And the world will continue to go on around you, even though you are trying to resolve a problem. All right, the next thing I had to do was look at the foods that create stress. And that was a big one. Dairy products, your eggs, butter, cheese, your sugar, carbs, All of those things create inflammation in the body. So, as good as the foods may be, as delightful as it may be to sit down to a good, sumptuous meal, especially right now during the holidays, I have to realize that many of these things are going to create and increase the levels of inflammation in my body. And so, I considered everything a second time. I thought about it. I gave it another thought before I decided to eat it. The problem was that I was concerned I would be hungry. I'm just being transparent. I would be hungry and I'd be concerned. I don't want to eat because I don't know if that has or if it's got gluten or if it's gluten free. Gluten will create inflammation in the body. Some people don't know you're suffering unnecessarily, but gluten was one of them. Sugar, does it have sugar in it? Does it have, how are they manufacturing it? How are they putting this food together? What kind of preservatives are in it? All of those poisons are going in your body and they're causing your body to come down with diseases or conditions that will give you a diagnosis such as I have, which is mild lupus. So I have to read the labels on everything. And that was a challenge. All right, I don't have time to go over everything and see if they changed this word to something different. So I will tell you what I did. Um, this information was given to me today, and I'm going to pass it to you. There is a app. So if you go to the store, everyone, you may know already, but for those of you that don't, if you go to the store and you find yourself in a place where you want to purchase something, I would try to find the keto section because usually there's no dairy or low dairy. And sugars, the GFOs, the fat, it would be mostly natural. But that was a challenge too. So then it looked like I can't eat anything. I am not going to have pleasure in eating anymore. But I was given an app to use, and it's called Yuka, Yuka. So if you go to the App Store and you download this app called Yuka, Yuka, it has a scanner on it, and it will tell you the percentage of health that this food may be causing. There's a red. It will come up either with the red, a number that will tell you the percentage of toxins or harmful ingredients in the food. Red, and then there's yellow, and there's orange, and then there's green. Green means go, of course, so that one's safe, and that's usually above 50%. But then when it gets down toward 49, 48%, free of these items or free of these ingredients, it'll turn orange. It gets down to 35, it's going to be yellow or red. And some of those will even indicate that there are cancer causing or there are ingredients in there that can contribute to cancer. So using that app will help you a lot. All right, back to the point. I decided to eliminate as much of the creation of the inflammation in my body as possible. So I changed my diet to gluten free. Here we go. Carb free. And I am telling you, that was a big one. Sugar free. That's a challenge. Sugar is in everything almost. Even natural sugars like fruits, some of that had to be curtailed. Even though it's fruit, it's healthy, it's all natural, it's still sugar and it still creates it. So it just depends on how serious and how aggressive you determine or you decide you're willing to be in order to manage this disease. All right. So the glutens, the dairy, the GMOs, genetically modified foods, the of course dairy products. So a lot of things. As I even started the journey on when I would go into the grocery store and shop, it was just unbelievable. You know, someone, and I can't remember, but someone said that we are digging our graves with our teeth, meaning we're killing ourselves with what we eat. We don't think twice. Oh, that's so good. Oh, I love that restaurant or that particular dish. I love to cook this during the holidays. And it's all pleasure, and nobody wants to live a life of, I don't know if I should eat that. I'm hungry, but I don't know if I can eat that because it may land me back in that position of not being able to pull the covers off or to stand on my own or to sit up on my own. That was sobering enough of an event for me to say something needs to be done. And I don't want to be on the list of people that won't do certain things to save their lives. So here's what I've done. Again, I have gone back to getting into the getting into a natural diet, getting into the things that are going to be helpful. What did I have to do? I had to learn how to cook certain foods. God bless you, Judy. God bless you. Oh, Lady Butler. And my girl, Kathy. Listen, I had to start cooking different. So then I started talking to other people that had it and had ideas and things that they were making. I didn't even know that they had the disease, so they weren't struggling as other people said it. One of the first people I told that I had it was a nurse, and she said to me, "Oh, that's what Nick Cannon has." And so I'm thinking, I don't know a lot about Nick Cannon except he was married to Mariah Carey, but they start telling you people that died with it. I remember somebody whose sister passed away with it when she was only 36. So the bad news. And then I go online and I start doing my research and I start getting reports of people that were struggling and suffering with it. And that was enough of a wake up call for me to say, I am going to, if there is a cure, if there is a way of getting around this, if there is a way to survive this or to minimize the suffering with it, I'll find it because I'm determined. And my son, when I let him know, he responded by telling me to read a book called Goodbye Lupus. You can look that up. She's on Amazon, but she is also on YouTube. So type in Goodbye Lupus, and I just happened to be out there looking for this information and doing this research on lupus, and she came up. One of the things that she said is not only do you get rid of or remove the things that are creating the lupus or that are contributing to the lupus, which would be anything that causes inflammation, to also then reducing uh, it with anti-inflammatories like your turmeric, ginger, those two were very, very powerful ingredients in my foods. Um, Green vegetables. One of the doctors said this. And one of the things that was said in the book or in the video, Goodbye Lupus, look that up, was if you are very serious about it, just get rid of meats and just eat raw vegetables. Well, that was just crazy to me. I can't imagine living like that. But what I did was eliminate red meat and I eliminated anything like the beef and the pork and other meats that may not be red meat, but they are meat nonetheless. So again, everything that's going into your body has to be metabolized and has to go through your system, and your body's going to pick up whatever toxins are in it. So I came all the way down to chicken and fish. You're right. That's funny. Me getting rid of, my fried catfish. That was hard. So, but I'll probably be broiling it in the oven. But I had to get rid of those foods because they were going to harm me. So now it's chicken, only baked. I fry nothing. Only baked, and of course fish, and it has to be baked. All right, everything else is vegetable. So immediately I began with raw vegetables. What did I do? I'll go to the store. You may shop in the bakery section or in the delicatessen section, or you may, you know, have the certain meals that you've always liked, your chili and, certain things that you like to fix. But all of those things now are an issue. Even the pasta. So as much as I love Italian food, pasta is a no-no because it turns into sugar in your body. I love bagels. Bagels are full, well, it's carb, and of course, it's going to turn into sugar in my body. So, no more bagels, cream cheese. Okay, that's done. In addition to not being able to eat those kinds of things, tomatoes, they create inflammation even in the they'll create even inflammation in the pancreas, and nobody wants to struggle with pancreatitis and, God forbid, pancreatic cancer. So you don't aggravate and continue to do things that could lead to something more damaging or distressing, and just for the momentary pleasure. So I got rid of no more tomatoes. I was even in the book, Goodbye Lupus, I even learned that maybe even the red peppers, so they're so sweet and they're so good. So if you cook with, your bell peppers, so your yellow and orange and green are good, but they said even the red ones. So something about that red, the pasta. So of course I had to find a way to have some kind of fun food. So I continued to learn and talk to people and found out that there are plant-based foods, plant-based that give the taste of meats. If you remember some kind of, okay, thank you, Lady J. If you remember the impossible meat or that meatless hamburger, was it Burger King that came out with it? Yeah, no red peppers. You're right, and those red peppers are very good, but because they're sweet. But the that Impossible Burger, they said it's a meatless hamburger, and I got it. And number one, it was thin. I think they overcooked it, and then secondly, there was no flavor. So that just sounded like a bad idea. But after days and days and days of just eating raw fruit and drinking smoothies, which I'll tell you about in just a second, you know, I was ready for a Whopper because I was ready to have that pleasure of eating something that was really sumptuous to me. And so I decided I'd try the plant-based food. So I went into your regular stores, your grocery stores, and I found out that there is a keto, not necessarily, there used to be a keto section, but they've spread it all over the store. So if you're looking for bread, you want to look in the special dietary section of the bread area. And that was where I started looking for the keto because I knew if it was keto friendly, oh my gosh, and we're going to talk about the smoothie. But the keto section. And so I started getting keto items. So I said, okay, I want some tacos. So, or I want, burrito or something because I want something that I can really, really just enjoy. So, um, before I got the bread, I went over into the frozen meat and frozen food section. So, like where you get your pizza and you get your frozen fruits, etc. Well, there's a vegetarian section there now, and under the vegetarian section, they had plant-based meatballs and plant-based food that you could crumbles what they so that you could use it for tacos and you could use it for chili and your shepherd's pie. So I got some of those and I said, okay, I'll try these recipes and see how well these work, if I really enjoy them, and if they don't create a problem in my body with side effects, so that make sure I'm not increasing. So I have been doing such a good job. And then I got the bread, I got the keto bread, and I got the keto wraps, and lots of vegetables. And you have to hydrate. This is another thing. You have to drink lots of water, because one of the side effects is fatigue. So if you're feeling fatigue excessively, when you're really, really tired. Hey, Roxanne, when you're really, really tired, that fatigue that is beyond normal, where it's just I'm just so tired. My energy is so low. I am moving so slow, and I don't have the push in me to move any faster. Well, of course, I started taking more B12, and that helped. But that was one of the side effects, or that was one of the signs and symptoms. So low energy, you get low mouth, low dry mouth. So you get that, it's like your body is just not getting enough moisture. It's as if the body is drying inside because of this autoimmune disease. So you have to hydrate. And when I say hydrate, I'd say the bottles of water. Um, oh my gosh, the headaches, you really know. Yes, Judy, you should have been on here. And matter of fact, when I do the next segment on this vlog, I want you to be with me. But the next thing that I understood was that the hydrating was necessary because you get dry mouth. You get very, very dry eyes, and I'd have to just sometimes sit and close my eyes, and because they were so very dry. And then I would notice that after even showering and you moisturize, and it just seemed like it wasn't the same. I needed more and more times a day. Then I found out I needed to moisturize both my face and my skin a few times a day. So what really helped with that was that I was drinking more water. And when I say hydrate at a reasonable level, I would say at least um, 5 to 6 bottles of bottled water a day. You don't want to waterlog yourself. You don't want to do too much. But 5 or 6 seem to be doing it for me. And of course, the lemon helps because the lemon helps to filter all of the things that are in your liver. Um, Putting the lemon in there helps to filter all the toxins that are in the liver, that are in the kidney, that are getting all, kind of like gunked up or oily, that need to be flushed. Your organs need to be flushed. So, lots of water and things of that nature really helped me. So, those are the things that I am doing. Now, as far as the crumbles, I bought some uh, with mild sauce with it's gluten free, free of GMOs, it's carb free, no sugar. I mean zero. A lot of the things I can buy now, I find out I can get zero sugar, and it won't kill me. Even coffee, and I'm not a coffee drinker, but because coffee has polyphenols in it. I don't want to get too technical today. It has polyphenols in it, which reduce swelling in the joints. I started drinking that, but I drink that an hour before I eat anything. And then also olive oil. I really went in, trust me, I went all in. So there are olive oils, but not just any olive oils. You have to take in so much unless you get the ones that are high in polyphenols. So, of course, I heard about Dr. Gundry. He's on all over YouTube, and he claimed that his was higher in polyphenols. So I went to some of the Italian supermarkets and looked for that ingredient in their olive oils and did not see it. And I mean, very far out looking for this. So I looked into his and I looked online and I found a bottle of it for $56 a bottle. So I said, well, my health is worth it. But then I found out that Dr. Gundry has the olive oil with the polyphenols in it, very, very concentrated. So I started taking it. Tastes awful. Oh, it's peppery. It's awful. But when I started taking it, the inflammation decreased. So that is the beginning stages. Now, I am not going to carry on further than this because there's so much to talk about. I got to talk about the side effects of the medications that they want to give you. I got to tell you about well, it's cyclical. Some days are good, some days are bad. But since I started this program, no day has been like that first day, that night when my husband had to help me around. So I found a way around that. It's getting better. I've already made an appointment with my doctor to go in and see her in 6 months. She's going to do the blood work all over again and see where the markers are for the inflammation in the body. And of course, I can gauge a lot of it. Now, let me tell you about this before I end this. Of course, in the book, Goodbye Lupus, she talks about smoothies that will decrease, they're anti-inflammatories that will decrease the inflammation in the body, and they're very healthy because they also put the nutrients into the body. So this, along with the raw vegetables every day, are what you call hypernourishment. That is one of her terms that she is big on, hypernourishment. She's so big on it, meaning everything raw, uncooked, where you don't cook any of or diluted or, cook any of the effect of these properties out of the foods by, heating them up or cooking them. She said to make smoothies with frozen. You can use your I think it's going to be spinach. You can use spinach or kale. You just probably have to take the stems off the kale so it won't be so bitter. But make a smoothie. I mean, she packed this down. After it was filled up, then she took her hand and pressed it down. So it could be very rich and intense in ingredients. And put in the spinach, pressed it down, and put in more spinach. And then when she got maybe 2/3 up, then she started with frozen mangoes. That's to put a little flavor, a little sweetness, because spinach will take on the flavor of what it is blended with. So that and another anti-inflammatory, which is good and it's sweet, and that's going to be your pineapple. And then the star, or what's very, very high in antioxidants, is going to be, and anti-inflammatories is going to be your blueberries. So a smoothie like that with frozen bananas was very substantial. And so I found a way to take down the intake of foods or anything that would create the inflammation, number one. Number two, then take in foods that will eliminate the inflammation that is there. So we're not adding on to a problem and have to keep going in and getting rid of what we're putting in there every day. So those two things, and listen, I was diagnosed in October, and today I don't have any of the swelling. There may be a little bit of tightness in my joints, but everything was so swollen. I am able to walk. I'm able to get up and down the stairs without a problem. There was a big problem. Every stair hurted, every joint. Now I can ambulate, I can get around, I get on a treadmill, I can get on a stepper, I can hula hoop, I can walk. I'm able to get into, satisfaction from the foods. I've learned how to enjoy the raw food. So my palate is adjusting to the diet that I have. And let me tell you, it's also helping the skin because the skin again dries out. So when you are taking in those natural foods, you're taking in the olive oil and you are hydrating. You're doing your skin, which is another organ, your largest organ, a big favor. So before I end, let me say that those smoothies helped. I had been diagnosed because I went to my dermatologist. My skin is dry on my elbows. What is this? I, have a problem around my hairline. What is this? And she looked at it and she described it. And then this is one thing. Make a note of this. Some sicknesses are medicinally induced. So some of the medications that they give you could actually be the culprit that caused the disease. And I looked it up and did some study, and lupus can be medicinally induced. I'll tell you when I first noticed it and why my mind goes back to that is because after taking the injection for the pandemic, during the pandemic, And I am not anti vaccine. I did not want to come down with COVID. I lost many family members, and to me, it was worth the injection, even with some side effects. But here they're now starting to manifest. So, just to give you part of the information of what happened from this part of my body all the way across here. So, as long as I kept this fastened up, you couldn't tell. But from this very part of my throat right down to here, my chest was bright red. I mean, angry red, as red or redder than this lipstick. It was just red, and it was so inflamed that it itched. Just the itch was maddening, and I scratched, and skin was just, I have scars to where I scratched so until skin was torn off. So I went to the dermatologist, and she gave me a diagnosis of uh, uh, psoriasis. I think she said seborrhea. Some things that, and she said there's no known reason. You can get it at any time, at any age, or you can get it. And so she gave me medications, which helped, which kind of did a little bit, but it never got rid of that peeling skin on my elbows. It did calm all of this down back to normal, and the scars are going away. So all of that's healing. But when I changed the diet to making sure I took the olive oil with polyphenols in it, when I started hydrating and drinking 5 to 6 or more bottles of water per day, adding my lemon in it to make sure that we were also flushing out the organs, including especially my liver and my pancreas, um, and also making sure that we help the eyes from being dry and the mouth from being dry. And the hypernutrition with the vegetables. I learned that I can eat and not have to be starved, be suffering, or woozy or lethargic, just tired because I ate too much or something. What I found out is that sometimes it's what you're eating that's making you feel bad like that. So I can eat and be satisfied and not have those bad feelings, and the skin began to get healthy again. The smoothies did create the smoothies. It was like I'm still hungry. I'd still like something to eat. As I say, I may not be hungry too much in some cases, but we have been used to getting the pleasure of eating and then we're satisfied. So I had to retrain my brain that you don't have to eat until you're stuffed, and you don't have to just keep eating because something comes to mind. So there's a lot to talk about on this journey, but if you know someone that is struggling with a diagnosis of lupus, they can manage it, and I was able to manage it without medication, not even ibuprofen, not a single corticosteroid, not with a steroid or any kind of injection, which I did not want any more medication in my body until I figured out what this one I had already taken had done to me, and if there was another route that I could go to manage this, and there was. So I'll say this, that the corticosteroids are something that are naturally created in your body. You have two kidneys, and on top of your kidneys are your adrenal glands. There's one on each one, and they create enzymes and hormones that go into the body to take care of all these things. So sometimes there's a point in life when those things diminish or are depleted, and you just need to nourish your body again so that it can function as best as possible with where you're at. All right, so with that, it is time for me to end this live. So I wanted to come back. I'll probably come back to you as I go. So the next step is going back to the doctor and seeing if all of these efforts and all of these adjustments that I have made any kind of a difference in my numbers. That's going to be, the bottom line. After all of this, has it done anything? The doctor, or yes, the person that wrote the book, Goodbye Steroid, Goodbye Lupus, is a doctor that cured herself naturally, a doctor. And you know, most of the time, doctors like to go to, um, they like to go to medications and surgeries. And before you jump into that, know that this is a doctor that has healed herself and has been healed of it, or if you want to call it remission, it's up to you. But she says she has healed herself of lupus, and it's been 11 years. And there are no attacks. The numbers are all good. So, again, nobody has to. There's a majority, 80 or 90% of people are going to live a typical lifestyle. Your lifespan will be normal and your lifestyle will be normal. But then there's the unfortunate or less fortunate 80 percent of us to 90% will be okay. And then there will be another 20 to 10% that will struggle. And I think that even those that are struggling there, I wouldn't count myself out or think that it's too late to begin to do something that is substantial in the area, working with lupus and curing and lessening the effects of the disease. Okay, so again, I'm Dr. Valerie Simpson, and I wanted to share that with you. I hope it'll help you help somebody else. If it's not for you, then think on somebody else that you know and love that has it. And I will come back to you as news goes. My next step, I bought those crumbles, I bought those meatballs. Hey, let me tell you, the meatballs, they were so good. I put them in the oven, put some barbecue sauce on it, and they were good. And they were very satisfying. They said you can have four for a um, a serving. And I'll tell you, I'm losing weight. I'm losing fat in my body. So a lot of good things are coming out of it. They're very good. It was an option. It's a plant-based option, and I think what they do is take those portobello mushrooms, those huge mushrooms, and chop them all up, and then they freeze them, and then they turn them into what can be later cooked as a meat in your, well, I can say spaghetti. I would say use something that is a non-tomato sauce. Um, or your chili, but there is white bean chili, and of course there are other sauces that people use. Um, you can use it in those. I personally went and got some chips, some nacho chips. So I am going to make myself some nachos. I'm going to use those crumbles that are going to be for the meat. I've got a sauce. I've got some seasoning. And of course, I'm going to chop up a lot of romaine lettuce and put it on there. And I am going to enjoy it. But that's my next step. So I'll come back to you with recipes and things that I do. But if you know anybody that has been challenged with a diagnosis of lupus, I want you to let them know that it is possible, and has in many cases proved that people can live a typical lifespan and they can live a good lifestyle, and it'll be more healthy in many ways. All right. All right, so thanks again for joining me, and I'm glad I got a chance to share that with you. We overcome by the word of our testimony and blood of the Lamb. Somebody's got to testify how good God has been. So, never be ashamed of what you're going through, because it's for the benefit of somebody else. So make sure God gets his glory and you get your testimony in. And with that, I'm going to say thank you again. And watch for the blog, this chronological blog on lupus with Dr. Valerie Simpson. God bless you all.